guys, Charlie here. Sorry about the Stella Luna video. I did not know that you guys could not hear me. That was a mistake. So I'm sorry for that. But today we're finally back for chapter 10 of Nancy Drew and the Glue Crew Scream for Ice Cream. It's called Choco-Late. Let's get started. That's what it says, Beth said. See for yourself. All three girls examined the menu. It is chock full of chocolate ice cream, Nancy said. The chock full of chocolate ice cream? Beth asked. It's got to be Kendra's ice cream. But how did it land up on the menu for the mayor's party? Mom, George called. How did you get chock full of chocolate ice cream for the party? Mrs. Fane was hanging up the phone. I didn't, George. She said 3 gallons of it were delivered to Mayor Strong yesterday as a birthday present. By whom? Nancy asked. I don't know, Mrs. Fane said, but I had to change the menu at the last minute. The phone rang and Mrs. Fane picked it up. Hello? She said. No, I ordered bagels, not beagles. Nancy couldn't believe it. Her dad was bright. Clues sometimes did pop up at the last minute. We have to go to the mayor's house, Nancy told Bess and George, and find out who sent that ice cream. Bess looked at her blue wristwatch. But the ice cream contest is in less than a half hour. We have to bring our Clueberry ice cream to the factory. We'll take it with us, Nancy said. Come on. Bess grabbed the pint of Clueberry from the Fane's freezer. They rushed out of the house and ran the short distance to the mayor's house. On the way, a voice yelled out, Clue Crew, wait up! Nancy glanced over her shoulder. It was Kendra running behind them. The ice cream contest is today, Kendra shouted. Did you solve the case? Well, did you? We'll find out soon, Kendra, Nancy shouted back. The girls were out of breath when they reached the mayor's big yellow house. Nancy used the shiny brass knocker to rap on the door. The mayor answered the door. He smiled when he saw the girls. Happy birthday, Nancy blurted. Can you please tell us who gave you chock full of chocolate ice cream? The mayor smiled. Chock full of chocolate, he said. You know, when I was a kid, chocolate was my favorite. Please, Mr. Strong, George cut in. Mayor Strong's eyes widened. Alrighty then, he said. The ice cream was given to me by Chuck Murphy. Who's he? Nancy said. Well, you kids know him as Mr. Drippy, Mayor Strong said. You know I'd better get ready for my birthday party. The girls stared at the door as it closed. Excuse me, Kendra said, but how did that mean Mr. Drippy get my ice cream recipe? As Nancy thought, she remembered Henderson. Henderson was at the factory on sign-up day, Nancy said. Maybe he stole the recipe to give to his dad. Why would he steal my recipe? Kendra asked. A boy suddenly whizzed by on a skateboard. Nancy couldn't believe their luck. It was Henderson. Why don't we ask him, Nancy said. The 4 girls raced after Henderson. Henderson Drippy! I mean Murphy, Nancy called. We have to ask you something. Henderson looked back. He kicked and kicked to make his board go faster. Nancy, Bess, George, and Kendra picked up speed, but they weren't quick enough for a speeding skateboard. They were about to give up when another friend rattled down the block on roller skates. It was Deidre Shannon. Deidre sped after Henderson. She caught up to him and yelled, Stop! Henderson's board flipped out from under his feet. As he tried to catch it, Nancy, Bess, George, and Kendra raced over. I know what you want, Henderson said. So I did write the message with a popsicle stick. Get over it. We know you wrote the message, Nancy said. But how did your dad get chock full of chocolate ice cream? What's the big deal, Henderson said. I didn't want everyone buying Jim and Barry's ice cream instead of my dad's. So when I found this cool recipe for chock full of chocolate, I gave it to him. Did you say found? Kendra asked. Yeah, Henderson said. It was on the ground. Nancy turned slowly to Kendra. Kendra, she said, your backpack doesn't have a hole in it, does it? Kendra took off her backpack. She touched the bottom of her front pocket and gulped. Whoops, she said. Nancy felt the slit under her pocket. It was wide enough for a small piece of paper to come out. Sorry, you guys, Kendra said. She turned to Deidre. You're not going to write about this, will you? Not if you don't want me to, Deidre said. Chock full of chocolate is still your flavor, Kendra, Nancy said gently. You can still enter the contest. The contest is in a few minutes, Kendra wailed. I can't whip up a new batch of ice cream by then. Oh yeah, Henderson said. Watch this. Henderson put 2 fingers in his mouth and let out 3 sharp whistles. In a few seconds, the Mr. Drippy truck rolled around the corner. Dad! Henderson said as the truck stopped. "This is Kendra. She invented the chock-full of chocolate ice cream." The girls expected Mr. Drippy to glare at Kendra and insist that chock-full of chocolate ice cream was his recipe now. Instead, Mr. Drippy smiled and said, "Good job, young lady." "Thanks," Kendra said, "but I don't have any to enter in the contest." Mr. Drippy picked up a big cardboard box. On it was written, "Chock full of chocolate." "Then you're going to need this," he declared. My ice cream flavor made into the ice cream pops," Kendra explained. "Cool!" The girls raced around the corner to the Jim and Barry ice cream factory. Mr. Drippy's truck followed, his jingle blaring. At the factory, Nancy, Bess, George, and Kendra ran out to the stage with their ice creams. Kendra smiled as she held up chock full of chocolate ice cream pop. Nancy was proud to hold their container of Clueberry. After another dance number by the tapping ice cream cones, Jim and Barry stepped up to the microphones. They wore T-shirts with tuxedos printed on them. "Let the contest begin!" Jim shouted. Jim and Barry went down the line, tasting each flavor of the ice cream. They liked the fan club's oatmeal raisin cookie crunch. They loved Kendra's chock full of chocolate. "It's our turn," Bess whispered as Jim and Barry walked over. "What's your ice cream called?" Jim asked. "Clueberry," Nancy, Bess, and George said together. "Snappy name," Barry said. "Let's have a taste." Nancy smiled as she handed Barry the container. But as he pulled off the lid, the container tipped and splat. Nancy, Bess, and George gulped as they stared at the puddle on the stage. Their Clueberry ice cream had melted. George said, "Can we enter a milkshake?" "Maybe next year," Jim said. "But nice try, girls." As the guys walked to the next contestant, Nancy felt awful. But what did they expect after carrying their ice cream around in the hot sun for almost an hour? In the end, the winner wasn't Kendra or the Jim and Barry fan club. To everyone's surprise, it was Kevin Garcia. At the last minute, Kevin came up with an entry called Naturally Nutty. It was made with frozen yogurt, dried apricots, and all kinds of nuts. It was the perfect flavor for Jim and Barry, especially since they wanted to sell a healthier new frozen dessert. After the contest, Kevin waved his silver ticket in one hand, and the other hand was his parents' permission slip. "Mom and Dad said I can visit the factory once a month," Kevin explained, "so long as I pick the flavor they think is okay." "So what are you going to pick first?" Nancy asked. "Anything but chocolate," Kevin said, laughing. Kendra ran over with a big smile. "Guess what?" she said. "Mr. Drippy is naming my ice cream after me, so every bar will say Kendra's chock full of chocolate." "Way to go," Nancy cheered. "You'll be as famous as Jim and Barry," George said. "I can't wait to write about this contest," Deidre said. "Nancy, Bess, George, can I call your ice cream Gooberry?" "No," the three girls said together. "Oh well," Deidre sighed. "Come on, Kendra. Pose in front of the Mr. Drippy truck so I can take your picture." Nancy was glad that Kendra and Deidre were friends again, and she was sad that the Clueberry turned out to be a mushy mess. As they waited for Hannah to pick them up, Nancy, Bess, and George talked about the contest. "We lost," Bess said sadly. "Big time," George added. Nancy turned to her two best friends and smiled. "But we did solve the case, Clue Crew," she said, "and that makes us winning detectives." Okay, guys, that's the end of the book. That's the end of Nancy Drew and the Clue Crew Scream for Ice Cream. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll start a new book soon. And keep reading, keep dreaming. And like, subscribe, click the bell. Keep reading, keep dreaming. See you guys next time. Bye!